Okay, so White Ribbon Day is essentially White Ribbon itself is the UK's leading charity engaging with men and boys in the fight against violence against women, and its mission is to hopefully prevent this violence by addressing its root causes. Now, this can be through raising awareness of what constitutes violence and the link between dominant masculine norms, gender inequality, and violence against women. And throughout White Ribbon's work, they aim to shift societal attitudes, systems, behaviours that help perpetuate gender inequality and therefore men's violence against women. So what I think is key to remember is that White Ribbon's work is preventative, so they aim to stop the problem before it even begins.
So our assembly was just about gaining an insight into what White Ribbon Day is, explaining, as Muskan said, the charity's work to help educate men and boys in the fight to eradicate violence against women and girls. We also talked about some of the quite shocking figures regarding gender-based violence and really the scope of the issue and the different communities that it impacts throughout the world, because really it's a worldwide issue. We then also looked into some of the causes of why male violence arises, maybe some of the stereotypical norms of society about how men should behave and what responsibilities they should take on in their life. We looked at the World Cup and how, as the World Cup is starting, that the rates of domestic violence increase as England loses a match, and why we can all be aware of this and look out for such behaviour to really try and reduce that. And we finished off with some resources that anyone can get in contact with if they feel that they are victims of any sort of violence, because at the end of the day we acknowledge that violence does not only exist against women and girls but all members of society, men and boys included, LGBTQ and other racial minorities, for example.
Awareness?
So essentially at the end of our assembly, we had various members of whoever had delivered the assembly stand at the doors of the assembly and hand out white ribbons. So essentially starting the 25th of November, which was on Friday, and wearing it for a week. This is White Ribbon Week, and everyone wears a white ribbon on their blazer or whatever to signify kind of the fight against gender-based violence against women, domestic violence against women. But also with this white ribbon, we had a coloured safety pin. So again, we would like to emphasise that whilst our assembly on Thursday was specifically drawing attention to violence against women, all forms of violence, whether it be, as Corey mentioned, against LGBT members of society or ethnic minorities is unacceptable, and we stand firmly against all of those forms.
So the PSHE student group is actually something that Muskan and I, as Year 12s, were introduced to as part of our prefect system. So within the prefect system, we can all choose a role to get involved with at breaks or lunch times as a Year 12 student. And the PSHE student group was really a way to get involved with the running of the school and looking at how we can make things better in terms of PSHE lessons, what content students might like to see when they're learning about PSHE, because we found that PSHE as a subject, it's very important for the future life of students. It's very applicable for them talking about what they will encounter. And so White Ribbon Day was one of the topics that we brought forward as part of our PSHE student group initiative, which was the assembly. And it is open to all year groups. All year groups are free to come along at lunchtimes, usually on a Friday, once every half term, for all sorts of opportunities. So meeting the board of directors, the school governors, as they're called, which will be taking place next week to discuss some of the topics that can be discussed in PSHE and some of the things that we can improve about the school.
Definitely. And just to reiterate, if any of you are interested in having a say in how PSHE is run in the school, whether you have anything you liked about it or any kind of changes you'd make, the school is more than open, and this is what the PSHE student group is about. It's about hearing the voice of students and what they think about our PSHE system, because inevitably it is made for you guys, for us. So yes, if you're interested, meetings are usually Friday, first half, but if you check on the notice boards, I'm sure details will be displayed there. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.